getting the results that you're hoping to get. Think about this for a second, right? If you're trying your hardest, right? You are pushing and you're trying to do everything you need to see success. You're eating the food you're supposed to be eating. Like you're supposed to go keto, so you get rid of all your carbs, or you do intermittent fasting and you're skipping your meals, right? And you're doing all these different diets, but you're not seeing results. Why in the world would you want to stick with that plan or that program, right? I don't see the lack of motivation. I see a lack of results, because results are what move us and keep us going. Right? Why would we keep doing the same thing over and over again if we're not getting any results? I don't see that as a motivation issue. I see that as a results issue. So to be able to see results, you need to make sure that you're working with your PCOS. Too often I see a lot of people say, if you want to lose weight with PCOS, you have to cut your carbs, right? That doesn't do anything necessarily. That affects one aspect of fat loss, and that's it. That's it, okay? Now, with PCOS, we need to make sure we're following what I call the fat extraction method. And it's a method I've come up with, and it's more of a framework of how to build things and how to look at things, right? So first off, we need to make sure we're working with your appetite and cravings. Second is we have to actually work with your fat cells. How do we stop fat from being stored? Third is we have to actually start breaking down the fat, and so you're removing it from your fat cells. And then fourth is we have to make sure you can actually burn it, right? Okay, so those 4 areas. Well, when someone goes carb-free, they're only affecting one aspect of those areas. And you don't have to go completely carb-free to be able to help that aspect. Because really all carb-free does is it helps lower your insulin levels, because insulin is a storage hormone, right? If insulin levels are high, we tend to store fat, store carbohydrates, store things like that, right? So if we can get you to lower your insulin levels, then we can actually get you to maybe not store as much fat, okay? So there's a couple ways we can reduce that. One is eliminating carbs, right? Another thing we can do is actually through exercise. We can do some things with exercise to actually lower your insulin level so you don't store things as much. So again, why do we have to go with one way? Why do we have to say all carbs are gone when that is so boring, right? Everyone jumps on there and says, my problem is I love carbs. And my first thought is, so do I. I don't know anyone who doesn't love carbs, right? So the motivation issue is not that you can't stick with a plan, okay? The motivation is the plan does not work. So we need to make sure we're doing the right things. And so we have to hit all 4 of those areas. If your program does not improve your appetite, then it's not a good program for you. If that program does not keep you or at least slow down your body from storing fat, it's not a good program. If your program does not break down fat very, very easily, very well, it's not a good program. And specifically with PCOS, if they do not specifically address your cells on how your cells use fat, it's not a good plan, okay? Because, I've shared this before, your fat cells, not your fat cells, your other cells, the cells that use fat and burn fat, we lack a molecule that takes that fat and moves it into the furnace where we burn it. So we need to make sure that we're addressing that, okay? So again, your motivation is not, your lack of motivation is not because I'm just not motivated. It's lack of results, okay? That's one thing that can be affecting that. So realize you just need to be doing something that will get you results. Okay?